Hello everyone, welcome again to my classroom. This is Teacher Tinitin or Mrs. Tuano, your grade 9 English teacher. We are now done with quarter 1, modules 1 and 2. If in modules 1 and 2, we talked about using models of permission, obligation, and prohibition, modules 3 and 4 is all about using conditionals in expressing arguments. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to use conditionals in expressing arguments. It is also expected that you should be able to do the following. First, identify 4 types of conditionals. 2. Differentiate the patterns and uses of the types of conditionals. 3. Construct conditional sentences from a specific situation. And 4. Use conditionals in taking a stand. So conditional statement is a complex sentence that is made up of one subordinating or dependent clause and a main clause or independent clause that expresses a situation or condition and its result. The subordinating clause usually have the subordinating conjunction if or when in the beginning of the clause. We have used the word clause several times. So what is a clause? A clause is a group of words that is composed of a subject or a noun, and a verb or a verb phrase. Let's take a look at the example. If I were you, I would study harder for my exam. This is a complex sentence because we have a subordinating clause and a dependent or main clause. Let's study the subordinating clause, which is if I were you. Since we have the word if, we know that this is a subordinating clause because of the conjunction if. We know it is a clause because you have the word I, which is our subject, and word, which is our verb. If I were you tells us a certain condition or a certain situation. I would study harder for my exam is our main or independent clause. This is a clause because you have the subject I and would study harder, which is your verb. I would study harder for my exam expresses the result of the condition if I were you. Now let's take a look at the different conditional sentences. So the first type of conditional sentence is called zero conditional or type 0. Zero conditional or type 0 conditionals are often referred as real conditions since they are used to express general truth or scientific facts and conditions with always the same result. This type of conditional sentence both uses simple present verb in the subordinating and main clause. Let's take a look at the example. If you don't understand the lesson, you ask your teacher for help. Now, this is a real condition because it is a common knowledge that if you don't know the lesson or understand it, you go to your teacher and ask for help. Now, let's take a look at its structure or grammatical components. If you don't understand the lesson is our condition, therefore, we should use the simple present form or present verb. That's why you use don't understand. The result, you ask your teacher for help, you have to use the word ask because, again, it should be a simple present verb. Now, let's go to the second type, which is the first conditional or type 1. First conditional or type 1 conditionals are called possible conditionals or possible conditions because they express a possible condition and its result in the future. It is predicting a most likely situation that would occur depending if a certain condition is met. Okay. In the subordinating conjunctions, notice that not that The verbs is in its simple form or simple present, and the result, which is the main clause, is in its simple future tense, which is will plus succeed, okay, or will plus the verb. Now, the third type of conditional is called the second conditional or type 2 conditionals. Second conditionals or type 2 conditionals are called present unreal conditions. This type of conditional sentences is used to express an unreal or improbable condition and its result in the present or future. Okay. In the sample sentence, the students did not attend his or her class regularly. That is why it is impossible for him to pass his or her English subject at the present situation. However, if he or she will change his behavior, then therefore there's a probability that he will pass English. In type 2 conditions, the subordinating clauses also uses the simple past. Example, if you attended. Okay. While the main clause uses would, which is the past tense of will, and the base form of the verb. The last, but not the least, type of conditional sentence is the third conditional or type 3. Third conditionals or type 3 conditions are called impossible conditions. This sentence expresses a hypothetical result in the past, or it talks about how the past might have been different if different steps had been taken. Let's study the sample sentence. If you had studied harder and hadn't played ML all night, you would have passed the final exam. The sample sentence expresses the situations that did not happen, which is he did not study harder in the exam. And as a result, that was not met, which is he did not pass the final exam. Notice also that the subordinating clause uses the word had and the simple past, which is had studied and hadn't played. And the main clause uses would have and the past participle of the verb, which is would have passed. I hope you understand what conditional sentences are. Okay? Goodbye and see you in our future lessons. Again, this is Teacher Tinitin, your grade 9 English teacher. Bye and God bless everybody.